Hey everyone, in today's video I'm going to be doing a review to the 5th episode of I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here 2025. So we've just found out at the end of the previous episode that H, Ginge and Kelly are all going to be taking part in a triple challenge. We're going to find out 2 new campmates that are going to be going into the jungle, and everybody else has actually come down to support to actually watch this challenge live as well. So at the beginning of the episode, Ruby did her morning meditation, explaining that she teaches it as well as performing it herself. Kelly was speaking to some of the girls, saying that she wheezes in the shower, asking the others if they've actually done that yet, and they said nope, definitely need to give that a go. So a bit naughty, but you see them all in their bikinis, getting ready and having their nice showers, probably really, really cold showers as well. And then Jack explained that they should have like a community meeting every so many days or every week, kind of discussing the different roles or the jobs or whatever, and suggesting that Ginge should be the next camp leader. Ruby explained that so obviously they were doing like catch and trust, the trust fall and things like that. So obviously H was standing there and said, look, Ruby, if you trust me, like fall backwards kind of thing. And she was like, well, if he dropped me, it would be the end of his career. She was like, I don't trust Ginge, but I trust H. So I feel like she's got a little bit of a thing for both of the boys, to be fair. Eddie explained that they're all together in this situation. Kelly explained that she's got her brothers with her, explaining that it's going to be a team effort. And Ruby thinks that they need courage, as she feels like they haven't got much. So yeah, she's quite brutal, I guess, but she's honest, I guess, from her heart. But I think they are courageous. I think just when you get into the challenge, you're courageous, but obviously the beforehand, you're like, oh my goodness, what do I do? I'm really nervous kind of thing. So I think inside they're genuinely really, really brave and they're able to do it. It's just that moment before, those moments before you do it, you're just obviously a little bit nervous. So they were all welcomed to summer camp and they all became bush explorers. And basically, if they were to win challenges, they win badges, and badges means rewards. So they brought on 2 chef explorers who were obviously chief explorers, who were the 2 new campmates. So they brought in Vogue Williams and they brought in Tom Reed Wilson. So they both came in, said hello, had their little chief executive explorer outfits on with the little brown hats. And yeah, so there was 3 challenges. Obviously, there was the 3 of them that were playing, Ginge, H and Kelly, and they basically had to decide, based on the name of the challenge, which of the 3 campmates they wanted to take part, which campmate they wanted to take part in that particular challenge. And you've got to think at this point, Tom and Vogue are new, they don't know anyone, maybe they have connections with people outside of the jungle, but in terms of the jungle experience, they're brand new, and they're already kind of dictating who does what, and obviously it gets worse. So the first challenge was called Not Much Fun, with a K on not, so something to do with knotting. And they just said it felt like Kelly was right for that one, with Vogue explaining that the French plaits were something that she wanted, obviously, when she got into the jungle. And Kelly said, well, actually, it was Lisa that did those. So I'm sure Lisa will be doing Vogue's hair at some point. What Kelly had to do was put her head in a box and twizzle 4 different ropes that had 4 different types of knots on them, whilst having her head in a box. And having goodness knows what thrown into the box. She got 4 out of 4 stars, so it was a very, very good start so far. The second challenge was called Rotten Removals, and they decided that Ginge was right for this one. And Vogue said that the best removal man out of the 2, the better looking removal man, was Ginge. With Ginge saying, so he basically saying I look like a bailiff. He basically had to put 2 frogs from the cage to the pond, and then get 2 spiders from this enclosure into the spider jar. So again, it was just one of those things, if you don't like frogs and don't like spiders, this challenge wouldn't be good for you. But it seemed it was quite easy for him. With the frogs, they jump, so he just had to put his hand on top and beneath of the frogs to stop them from moving. And then again, the spiders, they're obviously very fast. At first, he was a bit hesitant. He grabbed the first one, was like, oh, did it. Second one, done. So he got 4 out of 4 stars as well. And then it kind of went downhill a little bit. H didn't do great. He didn't actually get any stars in his game. But his challenge was called Harsh Mallows, and Ginge explained that, yeah, he just kind of whispered fish eyes, because it almost was like H had to eat 4 fish eyes, which is what they've all seen on TV before, the eating challenge. Jack told him to think of it as sushi, and yeah, so he did the first couple of eyes and, didn't quite get it. And then I think Ginge was kept on saying, remember where you're from, and H was like, remember where I'm from. And I think while he was mid-crunching one of the fish eyes, Kelly was like, remember where you're from. Well, actually, don't speak now, because you're mid-crunching on an eye. But yeah, that was disgusting. And then Ginge kind of mentioned a few times that he wasn't really enjoying watching H struggle, and then giggled. So, you know, he's obviously not too bothered about seeing his mate, you know, get fisheye guts and the rest of it in his mouth. But yeah, he basically gagged on every single one. He almost got the third one. I think he was very, very close, but just every so often you just had that, he had that little moment and just couldn't get it down, so he spat that out. Didn't win any of the stars. H explained that his legs were shaking, and it was just really bad. And yeah, in terms of the first badge, so Vogue and Tom were to award a badge for bravery. H also questioned whether conflab was even a word, so conflab was like have a little chat between, presumably. And they decided to give their bravery badge to Ginge, with Tom explaining that he overcame a fear and it was absolutely admirable. And yeah, Ant and Dec basically said that, you know, it's up to them now to welcome the new people and get to know more about them when they go into the jungle. And then we found out that the next challenge was going to be called the Dreaded Dunnies, with 4 bush explorers taking that one on. 2 of them were going to be chosen by the public, and 2 of them were going to be chosen by Tom and Vogue. So again, a very interesting challenge. I feel like as the days go on, we're having more and more people take part in the challenges, and different people as well, which is nice, rather than just the same person every time. So yeah, in the new camp, Martin explained that everything looked different. Tom said it was a nice welcome, and Vogue explained that she had a great reception with them coming in. Tom and Vogue decided to press the tannoy, with Vogue kind of pretending they were in like a shopping centre, saying, clean up in aisle 3, clean up in aisle 3. And Vogue explained to Tom that she doesn't usually make new friends, but there might be people in here that she actually feels like she wants to be friends with. And at this point, the 10 of the rest of them were just in their camp, which had been kind of redecorated. Vogue and Tom were up in some little treehouse thing where they had beds and, you know, boards and their badges and things. So they kind of lived a little bit of luxury, even more than the people that had won the beds to begin with. Vogue explained that she's got some sort of super positive vibe from Lisa. And yeah, Eddie basically said to the rest of them he can't see the 2 of them as campmates. There's no goodness because obviously they're both in charge. Jack explained that he's already voted for resistance from Tom and Vogue and protecting what they've already got as the 10 campmates originally in the camp. Lisa explained that they're the outsider, and Vogue explained that they're not very good leaders, and actually they both feel very bad because they're probably going to have to make decisions at some point soon. So their first task was picking chores. So they decided that as chefs, it was going to be Kelly and Martin. Washing up was Ruby and Lisa. Water was Eddie and Ginge. Wood was H and Alex. And for the dunny, it was Jack and Shona, which out of the 4 tasks was probably the easiest one. You literally just put the bucket of whatever in a bucket, tip it out, bring it back, done. So I think someone said that that was the easiest task. And I think the most difficult task, I think, was the washing up. And they obviously felt bad for Ruby having been put on that. But, you know, it is what it is. And I'm sure the leaders will change, and I'm sure the chores will change as well. Tom explained that he saw how happy everyone was, wanted to get involved and obviously not ruin the vibe. And for dinner, they had wild boar rump, which Ruby said it reminded her of dog food. Tom also had a conversation with H, and you've got to think here, Tom's very posh speaking, H is from Manchester, so they both talk very differently. They're both smart in very different ways. Tom explained that he is obviously a poet and his dad was an English speaker. That's kind of why he speaks as well as he does, and, you know, as posh as he does, with so many big, interesting words. Kelly also questioned whether potatoes were at dinner, where I think someone had put the potatoes and cooked them somewhere and then just left them to burn, with H explained that the potatoes were in the pot and obviously had then decided to do a runner. Vogue and Tom were then having to decide 3 different badges who they felt like brought community to the camp. So community spirit, in terms of their cooking and their cooking ability, was Kelly. Someone who was always having a smile was Lisa. And someone who owes nations to the camp, obviously Jack. And Vogue basically said, thanks for making me and Tom feel so welcome. Tom and Vogue were having a discussion, and they ended up getting invited to an event with Ginge, Lisa, Kelly and Jack, who had all previously won those badges. They had marshmallows as a treat in Snake Rock. H explained badges don't mean anything to him. Lisa questioned whether they felt a little bit guilty. Martin said there are some badges, obviously tomorrow. Lisa explained, take note of the quote, it really means something. And for the trial, it was either going to be Alex or Jack. Again, we found out both of them were going to be doing it, with Jack saying double dunny duty, and obviously 2 other people were going to be taking part in that trial as well. So, phew, that's the end of episode 5. So if you did enjoy, don't forget to like and share. And episode 6 will be coming very soon with that double trial. Thank you and goodbye.